growing a following. So I started my Instagram as a makeup account back when I started art. I grew this trialing so many different tactics. Trust me, there were so many different things in the early days. Like for a like, follow for a follow, hashtags, all of those crazy things that we try to do to grow the following number, not realizing that it's not actually about the number that you have at the top of the page. It's about the engagement that you have from the followers that are already there. So I trialed all these different things, and let me just tell you one thing: do not purchase any followers. That is not the way to be able to get engagement. The algorithm also strongly doesn't work for this type of thing. So there's a couple of different things that I would say key points, and I'll run to these, which is stay on brand, be human, make it visual, encourage engagement, time it right, CTAs, and analyze your metrics. So for me, staying on brand, so you want to represent your brand, not just yourself. So I guess this is blurred slightly when you are a business that's based on your skill, talent, or influence. So like myself, my business is my business name. So I obviously have to show a little bit of my personality through. But depending on what you're doing, you want to make sure that everything that you're posting on social media is keeping it professional, but still has that tiny little element of personality to it. And then also, whatever you're creating, you want it to make sure that the content is relating to your target audience. So you're not posting little memes of things. That you want people to be able to know that when they're going on your page, this is what they're going to be getting. So for me, if you can see on my Instagram, I always stick to a general palette of colors when creating artwork and sharing it on social media. I avoid overlapping photos with text. So you can try apps like Photoshop, Procreate, or Canva if you're ever needing to have a little bit of text on your photos. But I always keep it to a minimal. It's more of a portfolio, I see Instagram as. And then with images, you want to use high quality photos. So I actually filter a lot of my photos to keep the photos consistently looking nice when you see it in the grid. So I actually don't know how to pronounce this. I think it's Visco for all my photos, so that they're edited in the same way. And it's a really cool tool to have because you can save your presets. And then that way, every time you're posting, it's just looking like a really nice, consistent flow. And then layout. So you want to think of each post as a small section of your portfolio. So how does your photos all look when it comes together? So for this one, again, I don't know how to pronounce this one. I think it's Unknown to plan my posts. And this is where you're able to go in and put all of your different posts onto an app, and you can move them all around, and you can be able to visually see how those posts look when you do it. And then you also know ahead of what you're actually going to be able to post. Next one is be human. So you want to show people behind your brand. No one likes big corporations. So show the people who are behind the camera and give your audience someone to relate to. I know it's very, very daunting, especially on stories, to come on and have your face and be talking about who you are and what you're doing. I always feel very, very strange when I'm doing it, but it does actually make a huge impact. People have been able to feel like you're actually speaking to them, you're sharing your story, and you're sharing your process. So this would be on Instagram stories. So this allows your followers to see behind the scenes for 24 hours. As you can see my little face here where I'm talking about who knows what I'm speaking about. The other thing you can do is go live. So I jump on the Instagram live feature, and you can get chatting to your audience. So whether or not that's art lessons, it could be an interview where you're speaking with someone like an industry professional. But it's a really good way for people to be able to feel like they're in a real and live conversation. They can jump in with questions. Obviously, like when you're at the start, and I still get it as well, sometimes you go live and you don't have that many people pop up, but you need to realize that that's actually saved. And for example, I did an art lesson, and I think there was about 60 people who were on that art lesson. And I thought, oh, that doesn't seem like that many people in the grand scheme of how many followers I had. But I had to think of it as if that was a room full of people. 60 people in a room doing your art lesson is a lot of people. And then when that actually got saved as a permanent post, there was 1,500 people who ended up watching that, because it's then saved on Instagram permanently for people to be able to continue seeing. The next one would be IGTV. It makes going live a little bit easier. So if you want to pre-record something, whether or not it's a tutorial, it could be you actually creating something, it could be an interview, a Zoom chat, anything that you want to have pre-recorded, and it allows you to share longer videos with people, as opposed to the 1-minute caption that's normally on Instagram. So a few different ideas would be behind the scenes, an interview, a day of a life. People love that type of thing. They love being able to feel like they're in your shoes and doing what you're doing. Tutorials and guides. The next one is make it visual. So what type of content are you producing? I always like to try to avoid too much self-promotion. So I stick to the rule of 80% content and 20% promo. So as you can see, as I'm posting things, I'll share work that I'm doing and content and creating and tips, but then 20% of that, which might be, I've just released a new map, here is how you get it on my website. So pre-plan your content. Make sure you know what you're going to post in advance. And I know that is so easy to say, and I'm very guilty of it sometimes, where I have a busy week and I get to the end of the week and I think I haven't posted anything on Instagram, and that is totally okay. But for the weeks that you are able to plan, I think it's really important to be able to sit down and think in advance what you're actually going to post. I recommend choosing a day in the week and planning out your posts. So for me, it would be a Sunday. I would sit down and think, what type of content do I want to give to people this week? What national days are coming up? Do I have a product launch that I need to relate to during the week? So perhaps I'm launching a map on the Thursday, so building up content prior to that would be perfect. Sit down and write your hashtags and your captions, because it certainly makes it so much easier. Because if you're posting at 6 o'clock at night and you've had a big day, it's very, very hard sometimes to sit there and actually think about what your caption is going to be.